right, good morning, YouTube. So I'm doing a pricing update, and I wanted to take a look here at like the top four that we cover here and say that they're pretty much all moving along to what we expected. If you watch my last video, they're pretty much all trending in the areas that we would expect in order for them to grab liquidity and do any of those retests. So we have Bitcoin filling the gap here. So before we can say, okay, it can break formation and stuff, of course, that can happen at any point. But roughly, we're going to be looking at about another $600 to $1,000 drop here if we're going to continue filling out this gap. And then we should see some resistance here. As you can see, this area here gets kind of fuzzy. Typically, it's able to find liquidity in this area here, because this is what we kind of maintained ourselves before we had that rally up to around 30,000. So this will be the first place that Bitcoin would go looking to grab that additional liquidity and to go retest. In the event that it doesn't, we're looking at basically a repeat here. And this will be back down to around this area, which is the mid 20 ranges, like that 25 ranges. And that would be like another gap down. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So far, this was the last battle zone that we were in. So it will probably reach there first and kind of have like some combativeness to grab that liquidity and go back up. So let's take a look here at Doge, because it is doing exactly what we said it would do as well. And that's following this trend line here. It has continued to find liquidity here, and it's just chugging along. If we extended it, let's see. You kind of get an idea. So this has us at around, if we continue at this rate, we hit 10 cent around like May 6th or so. And this is steady. This is not the gap ups and stuff like that. This is not certainly a bullish trend, but it's not like something like this. So this is certainly more. This is more stable, I'll say, than this. But trends are broken at some point. You can see here, stuff like that. Everything breaks trend at some point. But overall, this is certainly a bullish trend here, and this puts us on a path to kind of retest this previous high a little after the first week of May. And that's, of course, if we don't get any like big news and stuff like that, or macro or something like that comes to hurt us. And this is really good, because this is still happening with Bitcoin going down to grab liquidity. But we also have to keep in mind that 420 and stuff like that. So there may be some swing traders and stuff like that in there to try and make some money off of the potential of a rally today or so. So we have to kind of calculate that as well. And then we may see a drop down below this. But overall, the 14-day EMA, which is that yellow line, has been very good for Doge to grab liquidity off of. And you can see, even if it does slightly go below trend, we'll get that rejection right off of that 14-day EMA. So that is happening exactly like we thought. Let's see. Nano, absolutely. Around 41, filling that gap down there. And excuse me, this is another one that we were talking about that was trending along the 14-day MA. So this will be a great identifier to see if this holds up, because it's found liquidity so far since roughly early March, mid-March roughly, that we've been able to find liquidity right on that 14-day MA, and we're right there right now. So if this doesn't hold up, we can certainly see a drop down to like the high 30 ranges or so. But so far, the trend was, which is, even if you drew a trend line, it will look something similar to Doge, because it's following that. When it does correct, it's correcting back down to that 14-day MA. So you'll see a trend very similar here. So if this trend is going to remain intact, we need to see a bounce roughly from where we are right now. So if we go back into the 30s or something like that, that's certainly going to be a break of formation. And you can expect a Bitcoin from a Doge situation to more of like a Bitcoin situation, where you're going to have that reach down and grab some liquidity. So keep that in mind. Ethereum. So Ethereum has more aggressively filled that gap. So it's right here at a previous rejection point with a green candle starting to form. So we can see potentially get it to kind of bounce from here, but it's not as a clean cut as like a Doge or Cardano. So you have a potential here for a bounce, but I wouldn't say it's a lot of liquidity here based off of the previous numbers. So more than likely you're looking at something closer to around 1851, which is about another $100 drop from where we are right now. It's trended along the 14-day MA kind of roughly, but it's trending along it. So, but these aren't the significant gap down. It's already done it pretty much. So, I would say we have a possibility of some liquidity where we are now, but more than likely you're going to find it at about $100 lower, and then about another $200. I mean, another $100 out lower than that, or about $200 where we are now would be the next point, because we were already closed below the 14-day MA. So if you're following that closely, you'll see that, okay, that's kind of already broken. So we'll see where we are now. And if we rally from here, you can just call this like an overshoot, but it'll be close, because I don't believe there's a lot of liquidity here in this area. So just kind of keep that in mind if you're playing the odds this week, or if you're trading and stuff like that. Just kind of keep that in mind, that it's not as clean cut as the ones that we looked at previously. Overall, I think that you may see an attempt to push down a little more, just because of Bitcoin hasn't found its footing just yet. And if this is going to hold up, we should get some roughly in this range here. But it's just no telling, because this isn't like a clean cut. So there's no telling where exactly that can lie, but somewhere in this range, we should be able to grab some liquidity here. So if it does, then you might see a slight sell-off across the board to in different cryptos and stuff like that, as Bitcoin tries to gain its footing, because we use that as like a measuring stick for the liquidity coming into the market overall. So as Bitcoin gains its footing, so prepare that you might see some slight deviances from formations, but it shouldn't be a significant drop. Now, if this Bitcoin certainly breaks below this and needs to reach down further to grab liquidity, then yeah, you're probably going to see a break in formation across the board, unfortunately. So just kind of be prepared for that. But we are getting close here to that zone, so there should be some liquidity lying there for our overall market indicator. So hope that makes sense. Wishing everyone a great day in your investments. Let me know if you have any questions, comments in the chat. I'll get back to you guys. I appreciate all of you. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.